Howdy everybody and welcome back to the Cast Gaming Channel. James here once again, and I've got another Napoleonic Total War 3 mod replay for you guys today. So by now the Cast Gaming Channel kickoff tournament has started as of May 18th. Thank you everybody who has signed up for that. The current prize as of this recording is $200, potentially $300 by the time this video comes out, if enough teams have signed up. So once again, thank you for everyone who has signed up for the tournament, so keep your eye out on the tournament videos coming out. So if you're interested in sending me any replays to be featured on the channel, go ahead and send something to TheCastGamingChannel at gmail.com, or go ahead and click the link to the Discord. Send something in the replay section of the channel and you might be featured on the Cast Gaming Channel. So today's match is going to be a 3 versus 3 on Egypt 5, and it's going to be some French corps here today. We've got the first corps from France, as to say, starting out on the front here. We've got another corps, Manu, I'm not sure how you pronounce that. So I'm probably just going to refer to them as the 6-pointer French corps today. And on the right side for the Imperial today is going to be Bonaparte as the corps number 3. And they're going to be facing off against the Egyptian coalition corps today. It's all going to be, I think it's all the United Kingdom. Let's see, we've got Bard or Baird. I'm not sure how you pronounce that particularly. We've got the Ottoman Empire as Army number 3, or Army number 2 rather. Mustafa Pasha, I think, is how you pronounce that. Forgive me if I'm not pronouncing it correctly. And then finally we have Abercrombie as the Coalition Army number 3, Corps Army number 3. And it's nice to see we have a clothing designer on the field. So as a tactical breakdown of this map, let's just go ahead and get into it. Because it's a 3v3, it's going to play a little bit differently. France started out in this forward position, and this is not something that I recommend. Do not push your army forward in this position. I would have just left them on this hill, waited for the reinforcements to come up on either side, because you basically have the LOC advantage if you are the Imperial factions today. You start out with a 3-pointer and 2 1-pointers flank either side of your section of the map. The the Coalition Empire either has to attack your right side, which I don't recommend them doing because they initially start out on top of this hill. This is the position I would have the Coalition armies hold, if at all possible. And so they either have to come down that right side, which I don't recommend, or they have to come down this left side and try and take this 1-pointer right here, which is, I think, exactly what the coalition armies are trying to do. So if you started out in this forward position, you could keep this elevated position. You could stop the United Kingdom from advancing on that side. You'd have the higher position, while your armies in the back and the left side either surround this coalition army on the left side that's come off the hill, or you could surround the armies on this right side. You could essentially move from this hill, hit the Ottoman Empire in this side, while Bonaparte hits them in a frontal assault. And that way the United Kingdom would have to come after them. You could have this 6-pointer faction come up and try and irritate Abercrombie's corps on this left side. Now, I don't recommend the United Kingdom getting off of this hill. If you can, try and make France come fight you so you can have the elevated position. So that's not something that I particularly like to see. If you choose to attack on this left side as the coalition, which I think is probably going to be your best bet today, is just try to maneuver around these armies as best you can. I would leave just kind of maybe half your force, have another force link up with the Ottoman empires to try and section off this Bonaparte army as quickly as you possibly can. Once you separate these armies, you can defeat them in detail. It would take a minute for the 6-pointer faction to come across, and Desay might take a few minutes to realize what you're actually doing. Meanwhile, you might actually be able to take this high ground, which is going to help you defeat either army in detail. Meanwhile, your ally, the other UK faction, if I can find him, can come around here and help support, get around behind all these lines, maybe even just go ahead and attack the 6-pointer. So that's kind of what I recommend for the United Kingdom. If they get into trouble here, they can always fall back onto this hill. But as the United Kingdom is doing right now, I don't recommend exactly what it's doing. It's actually trying to take the high ground in the center position, and this is not a particularly smart idea, in my opinion. However, we've got a little bit of a line battle going. They're standing in front of this artillery. I definitely don't recommend doing that. They're trying to get around the flank of France, but France has bent its flank back just a little bit. It's not in too bad of a position right here. A lot of its line is being filled with these skirmisher units, which cavalry could easily be charged into at the moment, or the United Kingdom could just move up further, hit them point-blank range. The skirmishers are not going to be able to do as much damage to the line battles or to the line infantry. It looks like the Ottoman Empire has gotten around Napoleon's fighting past this farmhouse. Napoleon abandoned this 3-pointer. Doesn't look like anybody's inside. That's kind of a mistake. Ottomans found a nice opportunity to hit Napoleon on the flank. Actually, it looks like he's routed some grenadier units. Like these are just sapper units. I think these are only 18 men or so. So not too big of a deal. And now the United Kingdom is finally figuring out that it cannot take this French position. It just does not have the men, on top of the fact that it's under constant artillery fire in the center. Along with this additional reinforcing 6-pointer French faction, Ottoman Empire still up. It looks like we've got some horse artillery on top of this hill. This is a good maneuver. Just be careful, Ottomans, that you don't have this artillery battery get charged by some cavalry from France. It doesn't look very defended right now, so I would be worried about getting that charge by the enemy. United Kingdom is still falling back here, which is the smart move. If you cannot take this French corps by yourself, this hill is going to be excellent for defending and getting some artillery on top of this hill as quickly as you can would be excellent to deal some devastating blows to France here. Now, as France moves up on this side, Napoleon's army here, this Napoleon Corps, is going to be isolated. So the Ottoman Empire could attack in force, have the following UK army come up, reinforce, hit it from the side as I had talked about earlier. And if the United Kingdom does not choose to come around this left side, then maybe on this other side right here in the center, it could separate if the Ottomans are not able to do it and are only able to just delay Napoleon's corps from coming over. Now, Desaix is continuing to push. I don't recommend this for Desaix because he's going to be facing this artillery barrage on top of the hill. He's now fighting on the lower ground, the unfavorable ground. So I would retreat to the top of this hill, maybe even behind it, and actually come to my allies' aid if the Ottoman Empire decides to make a push here along with the United Kingdom. That way you could actually leave half of your army on this hill, use the other half to outflank the Ottomans, assist this corps in fighting whoever is attacking it, and then allow this 6-pointer to come up, aid your flank here while you hold this position. The other thing you could possibly do is once this supporting corps comes up, you can make a push for this hill, maybe try and outflank. Keep one army away from the United Kingdom on this side as best you can, while the 6-pointer comes around, tries to outflank, and if the United Kingdom makes a move to go after the 6-pointer, well, then you just move Desaix's corps up forward and start attacking the other flank and crush where the United Kingdom has moved men in order to support its other side. Now the problem with pushing right here, right now, if you're just the Ottoman Empire, is that Napoleon's corps controls the hill. So if you decide to make a push for this corps, you're going to have to fight it against an elevated position. Yes, it's not the most elevated position that we've seen in the match, but it's still a disadvantage if you're attacking. Now the difference here is right now is the way that the corps are set up, or at least the way that the armies are arranged, is that the Imperials actually are going to lack the LOC. They lack the LOC because they lost control of this three-pointer in the initial onset of the battle. So they're the ones that are going to have to attack now. They're the ones that are going to have to find a weak spot in the lines of the coalition. Because essentially they only control a one-pointer, while the other armies, the other coalition armies, control the entirety of the rest of the map. Now there's still plenty of time for the Imperials to turn this around. We still have the corps on the far left side of the Imperial line coming up. We have Napoleon's corps meeting up with Desaix here on the center and on the right flank. Got some artillery set up here. Careful, guys, you don't hit your own cav in the process. Ottoman Empire looks like it's trying to scout around and behind the flanks of the Napoleon Corps here. Looks like we've got some skirmishers here for the Ottoman Empire trying to at least look intimidating against the Napoleon's Corps here. Again, France is just waiting. This is a good job to say it's just waiting for its ally to come up against the flank. This is going to be too much to handle, I think, even with the high ground with this United Kingdom Corps on top of it. It's very difficult to hold off two armies against one corps with absolutely no support, even with the higher elevation. Not to say that it's impossible, but it is still extremely difficult because you run out of men extremely quickly. So I'm just going back and forth trying to see where the action is at on the field here. Still got some Ottoman cav here scouting around behind the Imperial lines, and essentially for all intents and purposes, if there are no units in this LOC or in this ruins area, then the Ottomans control the entirety of the map LOC wise. They don't have to attack. That's going to be that's still going to be the burden of France at the moment. There is this gap in the lines, in the Imperial lines. If you could mass some cavalry in this line right here, or in this gap, you could easily get behind the lines. Maybe hit at the flanks of some potential, let's see, some artillery is right here that's being transferred over. This unit cannot form square. There's an open spot right here to attack some line units. Looks like skirmishers are finally moving up against France. However, France is responding with some skirmishers of its own on top of the hill. These skirmishers are not going to be able to do much, as much damage as they could against the elevated position. They're also vulnerable right now to cav charges. However, Bonaparte is probably saving his cav units in order to fight off against these units getting around its behind and flank. Bonaparte, it looks like the Bonaparte Corps is moving its artillery. This is a good job. You want to screen your artillery's movements by having some infantry in front of it and to the sides or behind it to protect it from cav charges, especially if you're being threatened from behind. There is still this large gap in the Imperial lines. This artillery is very vulnerable. We've got some more action going off here on the left side of the Imperial lines. Looks like this cav is trying to hold the flank of the hill. this six-pointer faction is coming up, going to be able to outflank the United Kingdom on the hill. I don't know if there's some... Okay, we've got some infantry here popping up. We'll be able to protect the artillery that's on top of the hill. Ottoman Empire's now got its line infantry visible. There's still this gap in the lines here. If I was the Ottoman Empire... Oh, don't charge your cav here through your skirmishers. You're going to kill him accidentally. Okay, I think he realizes what he was doing. Returning back here. He's getting his line infantry. You might be able to get around the flank of Napoleon's army right here. Napoleon should be stretching out his line units to match the Ottoman Empire, especially with this gap here. Skirmisher still harassing the line infantry, while the line infantry of Bonaparte's corps cannot respond in kind. Just does not have the range. We've still got this six-pointer coming up on the flank. Careful to say, I see that you're pushing up your skirmishers here now to harass the enemy. However, they're going to be vulnerable to cav charges right now, especially don't really have any supporting cav. And your camel cavalry here, your dromedaries, are actually supporting or trying to fill in the gap between your lines. Ottoman Empire infantry here needs to continue to push up. Needs to pressure Napoleon's corps here, especially with this disorganized line units right here. And the United Kingdom still has an entire other faction that has not come up. Looks like he's right here. His army should be coming up over this hill anytime, any moment. There's still artillery on top of this hill. We could hear the drum beats from probably what is the other UK army. Going to be able to surround and overwhelm Bonaparte's corps on top of this hill really quick, as well as them being overwhelmed and having this gap here. This is a good move on Desaix. On Desaix's part, this is what I recommended earlier. If Ottoman Empire had come over without the support of the either United Kingdom faction, reposition your infantry units and hit the flanks of the Ottoman Empire. However, this six-pointer faction needs to be careful. It's pushing the United Kingdom on top of the hill, but however does not have the support of Desaix's units any longer. Looks like we've got a cavalry charge in the back lines of the United Kingdom. It's got the artillery units. There's still one more artillery unit on top of this. Looks like it's going to be charged here. And this Dragoon unit's going to be able to take out this artillery without a fight, able to get into some UK lines here. They are not able to form square. United Kingdom has retaliated with some cavalry of its own. And even if it defeats both of these cavalry units, the damage has been done. The United Kingdom has lost its artillery. Again, well done for Desaix's corps coming over to help out its ally Bonaparte's corps in this scenario here. Bonaparte's going to be able to hold for a while on this side of the hill. The United Kingdom is still taking its sweet time. The second United Kingdom, of course, taking its time getting around the flank. It needs to speed up if it wants to do any damage against Bonaparte's corps. United Kingdom is shifting over its armies. It looks like it sees that Desaix has started to engage the Ottoman Empire on its flank. And this is kind of a mistake. Desaix, I realize that this United Kingdom is coming over to try and outflank Desaix's corps. However, it's giving up the high ground in order to do it, and this six-pointer French faction is going to be able to pin this army down. What should be happening right now is the Ottoman Empire should actually be retreating from Desaix, folding back this right side, and then having the United Kingdom army come up, the second corps of the United Kingdom, and hit the flank of Bonaparte's corps here on this side. That way, Bonaparte's going to be under pressure. Reinforcements for Bonaparte are going to be far away. If the Ottoman Empire retreats, it can hold off this corps at bay. Maybe even extend this units to get some flanking fire into Desaix. However, I don't like the United Kingdom has given up basically the high ground in order to do it. They're trying not to be isolated from the Ottoman Empires in kind, but I don't know what pointer faction this is or what pointer corps this is, but it might be able to defeat this 6-pointer on its own, even without artillery. Ottoman Empire is retreating. This is a good move on their part. This is what I recommend that they're doing. Be careful with your skirmishes here. It doesn't look like you have much cav support. In case there's a push from France on this side. I don't see any more cavalry on this flank of France. Meanwhile, there's still a couple cavalry units that France could charge into these skirmishers. You're also tiring these skirmishers out, which makes them less effective. Skirmishers already move pretty quickly on their own, faster than regular line infantry, I think, for the most part. No need to really run them. Ottoman Empire, it looks like it lost sight of track of a unit here. It's just sitting there. It needs to get these guys moving. Trying to charge them into a square. Unfortunately, that's not working out for him. United Kingdom is continuing to retreat. If it's going to do anything, it needs to link up with its army now that it's lost the high ground, now that it's given up its high ground without a fight. It'd be better served linking up with its allies here and then continuing to fall back while this other United Kingdom army is just now appearing here on the flank of France. Don't fall. Oh, this Abercrombie, stop falling back. Do not do this. This is exactly what you don't want to do. You're not supporting your allies here. You're getting cut off. This is a huge tactical blunder. I don't recommend doing this. You need to link up with your allies as best you can. We've got some cav charges in the lines of the Ottoman Empire. Line infantry is falling back. It's routing. Some more line infantry. Morale is very low. It's beginning to rout. France is pushing up its armies. And this section right here has pretty much been devastated. They're going to have to retreat quickly to get out of France's range here. Fall back to the artillery, guys. Looks like this line infantry is taking some hit, or I'm sorry, these skirmishers. Able to at least get this infantry unit to rout. United Kingdom really needs to go after Bonaparte's corps here. Looks like there's some cavalry going in for a charge, maybe against this artillery or possibly the skirmishers. And it looks like this horse artillery was saved by a counter charge from the Ottoman Empire. Well done. Good job saving your artillery. UK is continuing to push against Bonaparte's corps here. Bonaparte is having to retreat from the hill. Get this artillery piece limbered up as quickly as you can. You want to save this artillery piece. You don't want to just sacrifice it against these UK units. I think he's trying to get as much damage as he possibly can. He thinks he's going to lose the artillery piece anyway. Excellent artillery hit, though. But I think this was an unnecessary loss of the artillery piece. Looks like the Ottoman Empire is being pushed more by France on their flank. They've retreated back to the hill. Trying to make a final stand here. We've got some horse artillery still in position, going for a counter charge. Some infantry is going after the guns. Got some canister shot to the face. And that morale just dipped. Got a counter charge here from some French cav into the Ottoman Empire. Is it going to be enough to be able to get at these guns here? I don't know. Looks like he was able to get this horse artillery to retreat. Devastating volley here into this French line unit. And the Ottomans are in real trouble here. They needed some support from their allies here, and they're just not getting it. They're folding in their center. All along the lines, here comes some camel cavalry to support the infantry. It's going to charge right into the back of this line infantry. Probably going to be able to rout both of these units here. And now we've got a single line infantry unit facing off against some line infantry from France. Not going to be able to last much longer. The United Kingdom has got some artillery left, some horse artillery. This should have been moved up a long time ago. And we've got the United Kingdom, we've got Abercrombie's Corps here engaged with this six-pointer along the lines here. See if we can get a nice volley here. And the United Kingdom should be able to win this line battle here. You can see the morale on this unit from France is already dropping. Probably going to break very, very soon. These guys have lost a decent amount of men. UK, if it doesn't get bugged out, it's really good in a shooting battle if you can get it in a range. And here we go. This unit is routing, and this is actually, is this from Dessay? No, this is actually from the six-pointer. There's a gap in the line. The United Kingdom could push forward its infantry on this side right here. Get the local superiority on this unit right here. I think this might actually be a general unit. I'm not 100% sure. Now here's the thing. If the United Kingdom actually had engaged this side earlier, defeated them, Ottoman Empire, had they been able to continuously retreat and last against this French corps, the United Kingdom might have been able to defeat France in time to come over to help out its allies. Unfortunately, Ottoman Empire just did not last long enough. We've got this other United Kingdom army engaged with Bonaparte's corps here. Bonaparte has some artillery still on the lines here, doing some damage to the United Kingdom. Looks like we've got some sappers here able to defeat some United Kingdom units. Looks like they're going to go after the side of this, or at least the flank of this United Kingdom infantry unit. And these 36 men, 35 men are forcing this light infantry unit to fold back its flank. And here comes a brave charge of 17 men. Oh, and unfortunately, it just doesn't look like they have enough. They want vengeance for their fallen sappers. Able to charge into the flank of this light infantry unit. Can these brave 8 men left prevail? No. Both of these units are routing. And sadly, I didn't think they were going to be able to win, but their bravery is still unmatched as far as I'm concerned here. United Kingdom's got its artillery behind the lines. So I commend them for that. However, this is not a good positioning. They're not firing at what they need to. They need to be putting that fire into this line battle, which they're already engaged with. I do not like the positioning of this artillery. I'll say this every time I see it. Your artillery needs to be behind the line. A couple good charges from the United Kingdom into this artillery unit is going to prevent it from being able to be used any longer. Probably end up routing it. He's also retreating this infantry unit. It's not going to be able to protect the artillery battery here. All the United Kingdom has to do is push this artillery into, or push this infantry into the artillery unit, and it's gone. And here we go. Here comes the infantry to take out this gun emplacement. Man, flying past your screen, that's one heck of an infantry charge. And there goes the artillery. And that's why I tell you guys to keep your artillery behind your lines. Just another example for the history books. Lines on this side look a little bit disorganized. There's still some units from the Ottoman Empire left. United Kingdom is being pushed back still. They're not able to engage, help out their allies here. Looks like some UK Cav is getting, let's see what we got. Going after a Dragoon unit, able to get that. They're probably going to go after the Skirmisher unit, probably able to get that destroyed pretty easily. France is having to fall back continuously. It looks like they're being overwhelmed by the United Kingdom on this side. However, Bonaparte's corps here still has its armies that have attacked the Ottoman Empire as reinforcements, able to shore up its flanks here along with this six-pointer faction. Now this Abercrombie corps can't sustain this artillery battery or fire from that artillery battery forever. It needs to make a move somewhere against the lines. I would probably recommend re-engaging these six-pointer units here. I think Desay has decided to cover the other side of the line. So what I would move is fold back your left flank here and center, and try and extend your right side here. Take this larger unit, get around, or take some of your better units, try and hit the flank of this six-pointer faction unit as best you can. Avoid the artillery fire as best you can, and continue to push. You got to vie for the local superiority in that scenario. France is continuing to fall back. They cannot take on the United Kingdom, but that's okay. France is still alive in the center, and on the left they'll be able to take out the United Kingdom, or at least should be able to. If they have any artillery left besides this, it would be extremely helpful on this flank. Looks like we've got some horse artillery move forward again. I don't like the positioning here. It's exposed to enemy fire, and it's in front of the line. I don't particularly care for that. It's moving up some more foot artillery to support the push here. France is being bent back. It's going to have to extend its line, wrap around in kind of a hook shape or an arch type of formation in order to cover all of its sides here. The United Kingdom is falling back. They're just going to be isolated, and you know what? This is a bad move again. This is a poor move on the United Kingdom's part. If they fall back here, and they're falling so far back that they're disappearing from view, all France has to do is move these armies against the other United Kingdom faction and be able to defeat this army in detail. By the time the United Kingdom realizes what's happening, they have to travel all the distance back. And I don't understand why he's falling back. I think he's just too scared to engage. In fact, if he really wanted to, he could have shifted his armies on top of this hill. He should have shifted his armies on the top of this hill instead of falling back and then he'd at least be able to try and outflank if the 6-pointer comes after him. Not to mention, I think there's some artillery left for the coalition. Ottomans are not completely out of it. They've still got some skirmishes here, some skirmishes right here. This horse artillery cannot move, but it can certainly do a little bit of damage to France on this side. Not to mention, the United Kingdom has artillery again on top of this hill. However, as I said before, I don't like the placement of it. It's too far in front of the lines. The United Kingdom should still continue to push up against France, bring that artillery to bear, or you could get some flanking fire on these units right here, which they might be trying to do. Now, let's see. This United Kingdom infantry unit is way too far away to be of help to anybody. France is pushing up on this side. I would actually just get in a line battle and try and make a good push on the flank of the lines here, and then just reposition this artillery to counter the artillery or infantry on top of this hill. Reposition your infantry to get at the flanks of the United Kingdom on top of this hill. Just leave a few units as a rear guard. United Kingdom on this side is extremely hesitant to attack. It's essentially isolated itself for fear of battle. So don't even bother with it, France. Reposition your men and go after this other isolated army. It looks like France is trying to make a push here for the skirmisher units that are left from the Ottoman Empire. There is still the general unit left, and the artillery may have actually been routed by some cavalry. Everything looks just a little bit disorganized as everybody's trying to maneuver, link up with their armies. United Kingdom is still being static on this other side here. It's just not helping anybody. If it had continued to engage this side of the map, it would be helping to take the pressure off of its ally here on the side. And if it at least had taken the high ground, as I had mentioned earlier, retaken the high ground, it'd be in an excellent defensive position against pushes. As it stands right now, France needs to be aggressive, get its guys organized here. It's taking just a bunch of artillery fire from the United Kingdom. It's just getting free shots. Just getting free shots on France right now. Just since there's a little bit lull here in the fighting here, just take a look at the uniforms here. Like these, always like the red coats here. Always looking fancy. See if we can find some fun uniforms here. No, those guys weren't too bad. France has got some red of its own. Not too shabby. This reminds me of the France Orient units. Those kind of pinkish uniforms here. France Orient's a pretty colorful army. I think France Hispania is also pretty colorful, if I remember correctly. So it looks like everybody is maneuvering into place here. It looks like the 6-pointer faction has taken my advice. They're repositioning all of their units since United Kingdom is loath to come after them. And now the United Kingdom finally realizes what's going on here. They realize they just ran too far away. You have essentially just left their ally to die here. United Kingdom getting charged here by some infantry units from France. Looks like they're going to be able to counter them, reposition some infantry to the right flank. However, their left side is looking very, very thin. They're able to reposition some artillery here. Careful, guys. It is pretty exposed to cavalry at the moment. Again, I don't like the artillery placements too far on the line here. Easily could be rushed by cav or get hit from a couple infantry charges. I think right now what France Orient is doing, or I'm sorry, the six-pointer faction is trying to do is, looks like he's trying to position all of his units to try and shoot this artillery emplacement. Meanwhile, the far right flank of the United Kingdom is finally getting into place. However, it's going to have to deal with some encroaching Bonaparte units here. Not really any cavalry in the back lines to support the United Kingdom. So France should be taking this camel cavalry and this other, what's left of this dragoon unit, getting around the flank of the United Kingdom, going after the skirmishers here, or hitting these rifle units, this rifle skirmisher unit right here. It's pretty exposed. Again, it's folded its flank back against this artillery. This artillery position is ridiculously exposed. I don't like to see this. This is just bad positioning. Again, this artillery unit is right on the line. Just have a couple infantry units run themselves into this artillery battery. It's going to be taken out, no problem. Be careful. United Kingdom is trying to sneak in a charge here against some line units. Can they form square? No, they're not going to be able to. And they're routing this France unit. Are they going to be able to get this other line unit? There it goes. The morale is dropping from this other French unit as this UK cavalry was hitting the lines. It's having to retreat. It's lost a lot of men. Its morale has suffered quite a bit. This infantry could potentially take a lot of fire from this artillery battery. It's not in a good position either. It's going to take a pretty good hit if it decides to get canistered here. At least they're repositioning these men for better effect. Let's see if we can get a volley from. But instead, it looks like France is finally wrapped around here. It's able to rout the United Kingdom units. It's able to get its cavalry in the back lines here and on the flanks, wrapping around, making sure these units don't volley. It looks like this artillery was taken out with ease since it was too far up on the line. We've got all this cavalry encroaching, going after the general. Nice volley against this cav, saving the general, potentially getting some friendly fire to routing the general at the same time. And the United Kingdom is folding here on top of the hill. It's too much it's too much French units, French forces to deal with. It's got no support from its other ally here. It's taking on essentially 3 corps by itself. Even with the high ground, it's not able to sustain all the losses, and France is going to be able to wrap up the top of the units on the hill, no problem. They may have an artillery battery here still left, still able to move it. Unfortunately, it's probably not going to be enough. If they want to try and help out their ally here, they should limber up this artillery, use this infantry as a screen, and try and take the artillery back to the other Abercrombie Corps here. Unfortunately, I don't think that's what they're going to do. Abercrombie is still, looks like they're finally pushing up their men. They realize it's just taking them way too long after they realize what France's intentions were going to be, and it's not going to be enough. What France has done is it's taken its armies, it's converged them all at once, and it's defeated every single army in detail. First was the Ottoman Empire. Then they defeated the other United Kingdom army, and now they're going to defeat Abercrombie in detail after converging their armies. This is exactly what they should be doing. The United Kingdom should never have allowed to isolate themselves from their allies. The United Kingdom could turn this unit, get some local superiority into this lone infantry unit along with these as well. Positioning matters, guys. Positioning matters. Getting the advantage, even however slight, in every scenario, it adds up over time. That's why you need to turn these guys. You could route this infantry unit a lot faster, turn these a lot faster. These skirmishers might get a couple shots off you, but it's nothing to really worry about. You can maneuver these guys. There we go. The United Kingdom is deciding that it's going to charge this gun emplacement. Well done. Needs to route that. It's just going to be a thorn in its side if it continues to stay there. Desailly's court is going to be able to push up against the United Kingdom. It's going to be able to pin them in place long enough for its allies to come over, long enough for the Six-Pointer and Bonaparte to come over, envelop what's left of these armies, and defeat the United Kingdom. Some excellent muzzle flashes here in the line battles along the line. Always nice to see, always. France is about to hit the flank of the United Kingdom. There's not really much they can do about it other than fold themselves back, try and bide as much time as they possibly can. It looks like some sappers, some bold sappers again, are coming after the United Kingdom armies here. Here comes some charges from sappers into the lines of the United Kingdom. Is it going to be able to break the lines? Unfortunately, no, but it's not going to matter very much. France just has too many men in order for the United Kingdom to hold. Looks like France went in for a charge on the flanks as well. It's still got some cav here, can charge into the lines of the United Kingdom at any moment. Here comes the camel cavalry. They weren't designed for this, but unfortunately, it doesn't matter. It's going to be too much for the United Kingdom to take. That morale is dropping. There goes the units here. Some French infantry support. Looks like the United Kingdom decided to go for a counter charge of its own. Camel cavalry along the lines of the United Kingdom in the desert. How apropos. Continuing to roll up the United Kingdom lines. Some musket balls flying past your face. France going in for a final bayonet charge along the United Kingdom lines. And all the United Kingdom can do is stay there, form square, and just let France into their ranks. So guys, that's pretty much going to be the end of it here as the United Kingdom gets slowly wrapped up by France here. The United Kingdom's big mistake throughout the match is that they just let go of the high ground when they should not have. They also isolated themselves on this side here multiple times when they should not have. They should have been putting pressure on France or forcing an engagement and then slowly falling back, which is what France actually did against the Ottoman Empire. And the Ottoman Empire was trying to fall back against France. Unfortunately, it was just too caught up in the fight. Was not able to sustain itself so that its ally, the United Kingdom, could come up and wrap around Bonaparte's corps and defeat that. And had that happened, this would be a different match. Bonaparte's army probably would have fallen to the might of the Ottoman Empire, and the United Kingdom, the UK, would have been outflanked, and it would have been a different story. But thank you guys for sending in the replays. Today's replay was sent in by Stand, and it is an Imperial Victory today in Egypt 5. And so Stan was commanding Napoleon's corps, I believe it was, or maybe he was the 6-pointer, I think, I'm sorry, with 1,026 kills here. Falcon was commanding Desaix with 1,451 kills. British Emperor was commanding Bonaparte's corps with 1,913 kills. For the Imperials today, Po Dliwan, hopefully I pronounced that correctly, was playing as the Ottoman Empire with 679 kills. Looks like Heine was playing as one of the UK factions. I think that was Abercrombie with 1,615 kills, and Desiderius Erasmus. That's the best I'm going to be able to do, is pronouncing that. Was playing as Baird with 1,154 kills. So I'll go down the kill list here for you. See the statistics. Looks like it was a line unit with 169 kills. It was going to be the highest kill count for the Imperial faction here today, going down the line. So you can see the statistics, and yeah, good game, everybody. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.